I'd like to call to order the Committee of the Whole meeting for July 15th, 2024. First order of business says disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. It can be declared now or at any time during the meeting. We are fortunate to have two delegations today, and the first one will be Debra McLeod, Town of Atikokan Public Works Pump Truck. Ms. McLeod, podium is yours for 10 minutes or so, and then we'll open it up to questions from council. Oh, you'll have to turn the mic on to go green. Perfect. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Debra McLeod. I'm the widow of Tom McLeod, whose family has resided in the township of Atikokan for 70 years. His immediate and extended family continue to reside in Atikokan. However, upon our retirement, Tom and I moved to Perch Lake, as do many previous Atikokan residents. In addition, many people who reside in the town of Atikokan paying municipal taxes have seasonal cottages at all the surrounding lakes in the vicinity. I understand the municipality is not receiving tax revenue from me or other cottage owners. However, we support the town utilizing the landfill site, golf course, shopping for gas, groceries, liquor, beer, hardware, building supplies, and other merchandise. Also utilizing the hospital, clinics, the MTO, and local independent business and local contractors. The list goes on and on. Which brings me to my dilemma and hopefully your assistance. Every year, my husband would contact the Public Works Department to pump out our septic tank for a fee. Since my husband passed away, I phoned to request pumping of my septic tank and was informed the township did not offer that service any longer. You've left myself and all the other cottage owners in the area in a very serious position. I contacted alternative companies in Fort Frances and Thunder Bay, and due to the excessive distance involved, the cost is astronomical, thousands and thousands of dollars. I asked my neighbors if they required pumping service so we could share the expense. However, the pump trucks only have a 2, possibly 3 tank capacity in their tank trucks, so it would only defer the cost marginally. I've paid the township annually approximately $300 plus tax for the township's pumping service. It generally takes approximately 15 minutes to pump my 1,500-gallon tank. This service is not done on township time. It is done after hours and provides the volunteer employees with overtime, which the customer pays and is at no expense to the Atikokan taxpayer. I would be happy, and I know my neighbors are in agreement, to pay an increase if you reinstated this service. We're not requesting a free service. It would be a courtesy that is seriously required by your rural residents, as well as townspeople who have summer homes in your vicinity. Please seriously consider your position in this regard and help us. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any questions for Ms. McLeod? Yes, Councillor Knowles.
Thank you, Mayor Ferguson. I just wondering, it's once a year you have to pump the tank, right?
If you have a holding tank, generally. If you don't, if you have a field, it can wait up to a decade or better, you know? It's not like it's something that's going to utilize the pump truck.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Councillor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor Ferguson. What's the reasoning behind not offering the service to the rural residents? Does anybody know that?
I will speak to this because I did ask about it and why we weren't doing it. And if people are familiar with our pump truck, it's an old pump truck. It's a small pump truck. Yeah, we did charge. It was on overtime and it was charged. One of the concerns that Public Works Director and CAO had, and I'm speaking on their behalf without them knowing it, but is the wear and tear that was on our vehicle. the bush roads that it has to go down. There may be some may be very accessible and may be very easy to get to. Some of them maybe not that accessible and not that easy to get to. It was just the wear and tear and the damage, the possible damage that could happen to the truck. But I would like to revisit this, and I've told Jason this in the past, that I would like to revisit this, because one of the things that I wouldn't say disagree on, but have alternating views on is not all our income be generated from taxpayers. That I would like to be able to generate revenue from different forms, and if that means providing a service to other people close by, if that's something that we can do and we can generate revenue from it, then I think that takes some of the burden off the taxpayers of the town to do that. So I would like to discuss this. We're doing a lot of work now. We've got a strategic planning session, and we're looking at our different things that we do for the town, recreation, all kinds of different things. And I think I would like to put this on the table for if we can do this again, provide this service, or what's the hindrance, what it would cost to provide this service for people. And you know, we're not going to do this for free, and it's just not going to be doing it enough to cover the cost. It has to be a revenue generating thing, but I think we can do better than what they're being asked to do now.
So then we can assure Mr. McLeod that we will revisit this?
Yes, we will. I'll make sure that we revisit it, yes.
Thank you.
Yes, Councillor Shine.
Thank you, Mayor Ferguson. My question would be, if we increase the fees for it, if we decide to go ahead with it, would be the brandy, would a portion of this be able to put into reserves to pay for a new vehicle? That's not. And I think that's something that we should make sure is discussed when we have this meeting.
Yeah, that's right, yes. Just enough to cover the cost of the labor, really.
I'm sure that people would be willing to do that, because your only other alternative would be, like I said, thousands and thousands of dollars from Fort Frances or Thunder Bay. Thunder Bay wants $7 a kilometer to come here. It like, well, that's what, $2,400, or like, it's crazy.
And one of the things we're very conscious about is not competing with private business. Like if there was someone that did that in Atikokan, we would definitely not be interested. But as we don't have anybody doing that.
Yeah, but it almost sounds like
sure.
the companies out of Fort Frances and Thunder Bay aren't interested. They've got enough business there that they're not interested in coming here. Okay.
But I will make sure that we revisit this, because this is something that I'm interested in pursuing before your letter. So
thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, well, it seems like we have a theme today on washrooms and sewage. So our next delegation is Mr. Lanny Cross, and he's going to speak about public washrooms.
Thank you, Mayor Ferguson. Council, management, guests, and all these supporters. Atikokan had enjoyed the use of the washrooms in the Voyageur Mall and the Hudson Bay store for over 60 years. The lack of accessible public washrooms downtown and at Little Falls has now become a major problem for seniors, tourists, parents with children, shoppers, and others attending events downtown. This is the third time this council is hearing of this need. Councillor Martin first brought this forward last September after our car show. It was embarrassing for the members to not have any washroom available for our event. We tried to get one. Everything was tied up by the Bass Classic, so there was nothing available to us, and the mall was locked. Dennis Frederickson, president of the Conservation Club, sent a very generous offer and presentation in his letter to council in November. Now, 10 months later, the need is still here, and so far, no resolution. I hope today we can move this forward. The current owner of the mall and the downtown businesses do not have the washrooms for public use. Many of our seniors have limited mobility issues and cannot walk to the swimming pool or the township office, even when they are open. We need public washrooms on Main Street, close to the bank, and food vendors like Chips or Us. I am proposing to council to support this need and start to work towards, first, an immediate temporary solution, and secondly, toward a permanent, long-term public washroom facility downtown. Possible solutions: a temporary pilot project this summer. A, one accessible portable on Main Street. B, one accessible portable at Little Falls. These units will be purchased by the Conservation Club as they had previously offered. C, pursue a rental agreement with the mall for public use of their washrooms. We have approached the owner, and he is agreeable and has proposed a cost. 2, a long-term solution, a permanent structure downtown on town-owned surplus property between the Royal Bank and the green space, 110 Main Street West. The structure to be modern, vandal-proof, and easy to clean and maintain. Possible funding could be applied for through grant sources for capital dollars, and a committee could work on the logistics. So today, what we are requesting from council: 1, we ask that council recognize the necessity of public washrooms both downtown and at Little Falls, and commit to work towards a reasonable solution. 2, we ask that council remove the property at 110 Main Street West from the surplus listing and consider it for this use until we fully resolve the public washroom issue. 3, we ask that Public Works commit to pumping the 2 portables weekly or as needed as part of the regular duties for the months that the portables are in operation. 4, we ask that a councillor volunteer to be on a committee to discuss a viable plan forward for permanent Township of Atikokan public washrooms. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Lanny. Is there any questions for Lanny? Yes, Councillor Shine.
Thank you, Lanny, for that presentation. I do have one question. Did anybody speak to community living in regards to them putting something up? After I had read that letter.
We did. We did. What they're saying is a lot of their employees are, we thought, we had sort of had a bright idea that maybe they would be interested, like Chips or Us could kind of monitor it, would maybe do it even, you know, pay them, whatever. They sort of said that they're sort of, some of their supervisors are kind of getting older and there's not enough of them and they don't really have the extra workers to put towards us. We did approach them. Now, I'm not saying that we can't go farther with this, but just as a first, that's what Mr. Turner sort of gave us as on that particular one.
Oh, I'm just surprised by that because, I mean, their business is open for the months that you would definitely require it, right?
And they need them.
They need it as well because they do a hefty business downtown. You see it every single day other than Saturday and Sunday. So I'm quite surprised that they weren't willing to.
I'm not sure that that's necessarily closed, but that was his first answer back to us when we approached him.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, we all know that the problem comes into the cleaning. We know there's no money we know all this stuff. We have to try and come up with a plan and work towards. For our community, we need a public washroom downtown, and somehow we have to make it affordable and doable. Like, I think if we, I don't know, I guess I said it fairly clearly in here, but any questions you have, or, I mean, I know you have debated this, and I know the negative comments. I've tried to lobby and talk to the councillors that I had available to me, and we sort of worked through some of that. I guess all we really need, yeah.
I just said, when I was talking to you, I mentioned that I'd be willing to work with him to see if we can try to work out a solution. Like, I know it's kind of difficult right now, but the Legion is open Tuesday to Saturday, every day, but to get there right now is a difficult situation.
Yeah, you have an elderly person that went into the Royal Bank. Oh, I'm gonna have lunch over at Chips or Us. They get over to Chips or Us, they have their lunch. Oh my goodness, I have to go to the washroom.
Yeah, they're
Where do
not
I
gonna
go?
make it to the Legion.
You know what I mean? This is the negative. We have to address the negative, and we have to make it positive. We have to fix it. Now, the owner of the mall, we were pretty happy that the fact that he was willing to rent us the washrooms. Kim has other ideas on this also, but to rent us the washrooms, and they would look after them. His cost to us that he threw out there, but don't hold me to this. This is what he told us. It was $20 a day. That's pretty darn cheap for two washrooms. Now, our problem with that would be if the mall is closed and locked up on Saturdays and Sundays, and we have functions and stuff going downtown, as what happened last year when we had the car show. I mean, we assumed that at least that the mall would be open. Restaurant wasn't open, the mall's closed. So, anyways, if this is...
Councilor Knowles, did you have a question?
I did. I have to remember what it is now. I think the issue with the Chips R Us is the best place to put it is that the land is actually owned by the adjacent building next to it. That little space that used to be the green space. So that might present a challenge. Lanny, so for the temporary project that you're proposing this summer, what sort of timeframes are you looking at for operations, as well as have you kind of roughed out what the maintenance costs might be?
Okay, so for time frames, we'd like to see a portage on there in the weekend. I'd like to see one there tomorrow morning. You guys give us a go-ahead here today. We'll be ordering 2 portage-ons tomorrow. They will be here within a week, and we will have a portage-on Main Street by the car show.
Okay. So would the plan be then to rig up something to kind of install them temporarily into the ground? That seems to be one of the biggest issues, is people push them over.
There's no way they're going to push them over if I have something to do with installing them. That is, you can take that to the bank. Now, the next thing I would do is I'd say, we have to get a couple called before you identify where we're going to put them, and we'll put anchors that they're not going over.
And when do you envision these operating until in the season? September, October? These wouldn't be
May to September. I would think after Labor Day long weekend, if things are kind of slowing down. Now, if we could get the mall opened, like if we could get an agreement with the mall where we were using that too, at least that would be the second option, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I really see our own public washroom there as something new and for the future.
Great, thank you. I appreciate that, Lanny, and I appreciate you bringing this forward. I'm certainly happy to volunteer in any way to help make this a reality. It's certainly something that's needed, not just in this community, but in all communities in Northern Ontario. So we've all traveled around and seen the challenges that come with it. I'm quite aware of the issues that come with having these in operation. That permanent structures are quite expensive and difficult to maintain. But like you said, I think if we can do something on a temporary pilot and assess the viability of it and how we can move forward, then I'd be more than happy to assist you in moving that forward. Thanks.
When you said you'd do anything to make this happen, was that include cleaning washrooms?
Is that in the other duties as required?
Other duties. Yes, Councilor McQuay, sorry.
Thank you. Lanny, I wanted to say, great presentation. Thank you for coming with not just a want, but solutions to the issue. We all know it is definitely an issue. I would definitely be in support of looking at moving this forward and discussing this further. I don't know if we can say anything here today, but definitely I think it's something that we need to look at.
Yeah, I agree, Councillor, that, I don't think we're in a position right now to say, yes, we're moving on this, or to the porta potties, let's move. I think it's definitely, you brought some very good points that we can go further on. The $20 a day, but that's not gonna be open on the weekends, though, is it in the basement as well, or? I don't
No,
know
this
where.
is.
It's on the main level?
I believe it's upstairs, and so there's a little office space upstairs there also that Kim thought maybe the tourism could actually have a person stationed in there with brochures and stuff, and that person could kind of actually oversee that a bit too, is just one of her thoughts, but.
Counselor, I'll get back to you, Counselor McLeod.
Thank you,
Counselor
Mayor
Johnson.
Ferguson. In the interim, I would like to see council commit to putting 2 temporarily porta potties that we have, one at Little Falls, one at, by the bank there, till this committee gets together and comes up with a more permanent answer. But for right now, let's put temporary porta potties there, and I will volunteer to clean them. I've done it for years on the highway.
Yeah, that's not what, we're not looking.
No, but you just smart-mouthed somebody, so.
No, I just brought it up, because that's gonna be one of the concerns about, one of my concerns is,
You're not taking me serious? I will clean them.
I appreciate that offer, Jim, but, one of my concerns is that you're an early riser. You're down there at 6 in the morning, you've got it pristine, beautiful. Someone goes in there at 8 o'clock, and there's been one other person that uses it, and it's a big mess. And then people are saying, nobody cleans these. That's one of my concerns, is maintaining it, because it's only clean until the first person uses it, right? And I think it's a great idea. That's just some of these things before we say, yes, let's do this. Let's think through of all the things we're gonna have to do. Now, is it a union job? Is it Public Works? How is this? There's a lot of things, there's a lot of moving parts that we have to discuss and make sure we're covered.
But
So,
couldn't we put these in place just temporarily and work out the bugs and see what the problems are gonna be without committing a lot of money to anything? I mean, everybody's laughing.
yes, yes, Brandy.
We can't guarantee that we have any available right now. We rent them out, and with construction and everything, I'm not sure what is or isn't available at this time.
I think we should, now, there were some good points, and I think we've got some counselors that are interested in working with you to find some solutions. I don't think we're gonna vote today to say we're gonna have a porta potty on Main Street tomorrow, because there's things we need to look at. But I think there's some really good stuff here that if we want to move forward on it, I think we could have council work with you and come up with a solution, whether it is the mall, whether it's something on Main Street, where this is gonna go, how it's gonna be maintained, all those things kind of need to be worked out. And I don't think we should just throw one up there and see what happens. Like, I think we got to work through some of the solutions. Yes.
But it's the 15th of July, and the car show is going to be here, and Bass Classic's going to be here, and the people are in town. The need is today. The need isn't a month from now in the next council meeting. Like, we really, for a temporary thing to be able to move this forward, it would really be nice if.
And I agree that, like, at the car show and at the Bass Classic and all that, that should be there. I'm just saying that I don't think it's realistic to expect one there tomorrow. Councillor Sean.
Thank you, Mayor Ferguson. This is going to sound negative, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm very disappointed in the fact that the owners of the mall, who have businesses in there Monday to Friday, are not allowing the members of our community to use the public washroom for free in there, especially as we support their businesses.
If we rented the room out in front of it for another purpose, the washrooms would have to be open, because you got to supply washrooms to the users.
Are you? My point would be this: the Atikokan Native Friendship Center and the people who just opened the vintage clothing store all have customers who go in there. So if a customer says to them, oh, I just spent $30 and you think, but I really need to use the washroom right now, that they can't use the public washroom in that building? Is that a fact? Is that what
I
this?
don't know, Liz, you know I don't know that.
I know, but that's
And the
what I'm
owners in
saying.
Toronto.
Like, what do they do with their customers? I think it's time for them to kind of step up to the plate too.
Councillor McQuay.
Thanks. About having the vintage store, I think they're actually open on the weekends as well as there's the arcade in the mall. So there are 2 new businesses in there. So that might be, that might help. Yeah, it might be that they are on the weekend for the interim anyway.
So you, oh, sorry, Councillor Knowles.
No worries. Thank you, Mayor Ferguson. Lanny, I didn't see it in here. What's the, do you have the cost of 2 public portables? That would be purchased?
The cost of the
Yeah, what's,
portables?
yeah.
Yeah, I purposely didn't put anything in there to confuse you. The
Oh,
price
perfect.
The price today is, last week, the price was $6,400 to have 2 portables, accessible washrooms, so that's wheelchair accessible. Here, today, we've got them for $5,100 because I suggested we can put them together ourselves. We don't need the cost of the bulk moving down the highway. We'll put them together here in a couple of days and have them out there.
Okay.
And the Conservation Club is still willing to pay for them, and I know for a fact that the Conservation Club will pay attention to the one that's up closest to them, and as some of us volunteers, and everybody here needs a washroom at some point in time. So I'm pretty sure we can get somebody that's going to be looking out for these things. And maybe we need a camera. Maybe we need something to, and we'll lock them at night. We're not going to leave them open there for the druggies or whatever the heck might be undesirables to use in the middle of the night. No. We'll open them up like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. We'll close them at 7, 8 at night. And some of us will have to just step up and do what we have to do till we get it figured out.
Good. Thanks, Lanny.
I guess we flogged this horse, eh?
I think what I'd like to see is your group, and I don't know if you have a group, Lanny, you're driving this, right? And Councillor Shine is volunteering to be on the committee. I don't know if Councillor Johnson is interested. And maybe if we could strike a committee and see what we could do, look at our options, and then I know we need to do something sooner than later, definitely, for sure. But I think moving ahead and we can look at some of these issues, and maybe we could get some clerk's department advice on what we need to do to legally host something like this as well. I don't know if there is or not. I know it's out of the blue, but I don't know if there is or not. Like, you know what I mean? I just like to, before we go ahead, oh, yes, sorry, Graham.
There's a number of regulations. Some of it's already been addressed for accessibility, has to cover all, not just people that are able-bodied, but they're also hand washing as well, sanitization for the users. That has to be provided too, and then a certain amount per amount of people. So, as Councillor Johnson would know, when with the Bass Classic, you had so many porta potties for so many people, so many hand washing stations for, again, the same amount of people. That's all would be worked through the Northwest Health Unit. So the other issue that could come up, and that would be, again, a decision of council, is the zoning of the property. The rules apply to council as well as they do to the general public about utilizing a property on Main Street for something that's not within its zoning. Those are some of the things I've looked at, but they're all fixable, but there's regulations to follow.
Thank you, Graham. Councillor Shine?
Thank you, Mayor Ferguson. Graham, could you print up all the regulations that we would need so Councillor Johnson and I would be able to bring it with us to the first meeting for this so that we have the information readily available to us? We're not just making wild decisions.
I can do that.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I think this is you know, considering the progress that have been made in the past, this is some really good steps. I know it's frustrating for people that think we can just do things, but unfortunately, we're under more scrutiny than the general public is, so, but I think we made some good steps. We want to make sure that we're not gonna put ourselves as the town at risk, put yourself by doing this, and we make sure that we follow the rules for the Northwest Health Unit. So we want to do it right if we're going to do it. And I think if we could form an ad hoc committee to look at this and move it forward. And, you know, we can look at doing things in the interim on the Bass Classic and in the car show and things like that, you know, for the smaller, but for going on in perpetuity, I think we got to make sure that we're doing it correctly. Councillor McQuay.
Thanks. In the interim, it might be a good idea to, and I know you've talked to a lot of businesses, but maybe talk to businesses and find out local, like our town buildings and their hours that do have available public washrooms. I know it's not a perfect solution, but at least, and then if you had a document or something that you could post so that people did know that when they were downtown or when they came to town, you know, that maybe this bathroom's available at this time. I know it's a lot of extra work, but considering we can't do anything right this minute, it might be a way to, you know, like the Rec and Wellness Center's open at these hours and the town hall's open at these hours. Maybe other businesses would be willing to be part of that list and may generate business for them as well.
I know the businesses downtown aren't, they locked their washrooms and they basically said no. Jared said absolutely not. He said because of the overflow from Chips R Us, he said we clean their garbage, they use the washrooms, blah, blah, blah. He said it's over. And the same thing at Home Hardware. They're not if you're in their business and you need to use their washroom, that's fine. But for average Joe public just to walk in and use them, yes, SO, someplace like that, way out at Voisier Bait, the poor person on Main Street with a walker isn't getting that far. They're only getting like from here to there.
Councillor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor Ferguson. So Lonnie, thank you for your presentation. It will be up to you to set a date for the first meeting. Hopefully it's in a couple of days.
Sooner than later. Thank you. Thank you for all your support, guys.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, and thanks for everybody for coming. Thank you.
Is it okay if we escape?
Yeah, your penance is you have to sit through the whole meeting, yes. We'll just take a 1 minute break while. Graham saved you guys.